afraid of the dark.
My husband served in the border troops. Part of their service was in a remote wilderness, accessible only by a dirt road along which they received supplies and other assistance. There was also a small town with log single-story houses where several officer families, single servicemen, and other staff lived. Among them was a young family of a sergeant and his wife. They had no children, as the sergeant was constantly on duty trips, and his wife frankly felt bored in the forest wilderness. At that time, my husband and his friend Denver were 23 years old. Denver stood out from all the soldiers and officers because he was exceptionally handsome. His uniform gave him a sense of masculinity and some kind of hypnotic charm for women servicemen and workers there. But the guy was decent and responsible. He didn't flirt with anyone, responded to women's suggestive looks with a gentle smile, and avoided eye contact. And then, the sergeant's wife, I don't remember her name, let's call her Megan, just lost her mind over an ordinary private. She did everything for him. She brought him pancakes for fasting days, lured him in every possible way, and allegedly invited him to help around the house, meeting him in just a robe. Everyone whispered about her crazy love, and the husband kept going on his trips, oblivious. And then New Year's Eve arrived. They set up a common table for the soldiers and a separate one, but nearby, for officers with their wives. Naturally, they drank, started having fun. Megan approached Denver and invited him to talk. Denver didn't really tell us what she said to him, but it became clear that the steadfast soldier rejected the married woman, the wife of his superior. Apologizing, the soldier turned away and went to sleep in the barracks. The next morning, Denver went on duty, and only the next day found out that the sergeant's wife had disappeared. They searched the entire surrounding area, and people came from the nearest village to help. That's when the sergeant found out about his wife's insanity, had a serious conversation with Denver, and since the soldier was always in plain sight, known to be honest and decent, everyone saw him head to the barracks to sleep. The sergeant understood that Denver was not to blame. After some time, it was Denver's turn again to go on night duty in the forest at the post. The post was a wooden hut on a hill, fenced with barbed wire, illuminated by a fence from two sides, and not so close to the next post. Snow was falling in flakes. Around there was silence, no wind, not a single sound. Denver fell into a state akin to a doze. He remembers dreaming about a house and mother. Suddenly he was awakened by the sound of footsteps on the steps to the post. Peeking out of the hut, the soldier didn't see a soul. Animals from the forest don't run up to the fence, and soldiers don't run to the posts at night, unless absolutely necessary. There was not a single footprint in the snow. Even Denver's tracks had already been erased. The soldier assumed a comfortable position again, glanced around, and then suddenly, out of surprise, almost tipped over the edge of the hut. Standing in front of him was the disheveled wife of the sergeant, Megan. With a piercing look, she stared at Denver and hissed angrily, "You rejected my love, embarrassed me in front of people, made me cry, and I wanted to laugh. May you be cursed, and may no woman ever look at you again, and may you never smile again in your life." Denver was hit by a rotten, decomposing Swedish smell. His head became cloudy, and as she stepped closer to him, the sergeant's wife looked him straight in the face, and the last thing Denver remembered was her murky, glassy eyes, like fogged glass with force. She struck him in the face, and Denver blacked out. He only came to his senses by lunchtime the next day. As it turned out, they found him under the guardhouse with a torn cheek, unconscious. A strand of hair on his temple was gray. For 2 weeks, Denver lay with a high fever of over 40. They even wanted to take him to the city, but one day he woke up completely healthy. The cheek remained disfigured, the skin poorly healed, and there was a rough burgundy scar across his cheek. On the same day, Megan's body was found. According to the examination, she died on New Year's Eve, freezing in the forest, having fallen into a pit. The body was found almost intact, with open cloudy eyes and a distorted face twisted in anger. She was buried in a closed coffin. My husband and Denver finished their service, went their separate ways to their hometowns, but since they were very close friends, they still keep in touch. I have never seen Denver smile or laugh. He is neither a wife nor a girlfriend, although it's been 10 years since their service. Doctors, cosmetologists somehow fixed his cheek, but the scar is still visible. It's sad to look at this lonely, still handsome man who repels something about himself. We even tried to introduce him to my friend, but she absolutely didn't like him, as did other women. What happened that night remains a mystery for him and for everyone else. Thinking skeptically, perhaps the woman decided to avenge the soldier and then run into the forest, accusing him of some crime. But then how to explain the results of the examination, establishing the date of death, while everything happened about a week after that fatal New Year's Eve night? How to explain the fainting of a healthy, strong man? How to explain his scar and solitary life? Perhaps there are logical answers, but there is a touch of mystique in this story.